behind me. You're halfway there. We are at the halfway point in this mod in this month. It is midterm. We're all excited about that. We know we can do this. We have been learning and going along. So, what's going to happen today is where our wonderful guest speaker is going to give her presentation. And then after that, don't jump off because number one, jumping isn't necessarily the best thing to do from a seated position, but I have something to go over after that because you still have number one, that participation assignment, and that's going to come in my presentation because I want to show you that you have accomplished quite a bit. You may be halfway there and you're kind of wondering what we've been doing. And so I'm going to show you the progress that you've actually made, but you may not realize it because you are really incredible and you've accomplished a lot. And sometimes we don't take the time to realize how great we are. And that is something that we really need to do. We need to realize what we've accomplished, how great we are, because we need to build ourselves out when people are tearing us down. Now, I've asked you to do some things and every day in these daily participation things. And some of the things that we don't necessarily like to do is talk about ourselves, tell people, this is what I've done, this is what I've accomplished. And, I've asked you, what don't you like to do? What questions don't you like to hear in those wonderful interviews that we are always on edge when we have to do these things? And you've been great in telling us what you want to hear. And yesterday, I had to refresh my memory here, so that's what I was doing there, uh, was things you're looking for in a company besides money. And some of those have been really, really good. Stability, loyalty. And under loyalty, somebody hit something that was really key. And you can raise your hand if you want to take credit for this, but this was really key. They look for companies that are loyal to customers because if they won't be loyal to their customers, why would they be loyal to me? Now think about that. This is somebody that if they're not, I got a bird that wants to join in on this conversation. If they will not be loyal to who is giving them money, why would they be loyal to me? So look at their track history. When you're doing that research, look at who they're being loyal to. And if they're not being loyal to them, why would they be loyal to you? The other things that you see are benefits. That's a big thing, uh, because you may get paid more per hour, but if you're not getting provided benefits, that's the thing. We've heard talk recently about not having to pay taxes on tip income. Be careful with that because there's a backside to that. If companies are not paying taxes on your tips or you're not paying taxes on those tips, the backside to that is they are looking for a way that if you're not having to pay taxes, then they don't have to include their side of those taxes. You won't have Social Security on that. Okay, think about that when it comes time to retirement. That Social Security won't be there. And they're looking at if they're not having to pay into anything, then they don't have to provide benefits. Because if they're not paying taxes on that, they don't have to provide benefits. How many people didn't know that? That's why companies are pushing for those no tax on tips. They're looking for a way to not have to pay you benefits. So when you're seeing these things that sound like golden parachutes, understand that when businesses are pushing for these things, it might be to their benefit and not necessarily to yours. So always look for those things. Other things are look for transportations and things like that. And when companies have multiple locations, make sure you know that if you're hired at location A, ask them, would I be transferred to location B? Because you may not have transportation that will get you to location B. Make sure you're staying at the location you want. All right. So I want to turn this over to Nancy. and so that she has the full floor here. And so let me make her a presenter. Nancy, you got all your backup dancers and everything ready there. I think she's going to do a sing-along as well here. Let's see. Da, 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 da. I want to make sure that she can do everything. Okay, I'm making you a participant there. And now let's see if it will let me make you a presenter as well. Okay, I just lost you. Let me see if it'll let me make you a presenter. Boom. Okay, I think you are all set. So if you want to take over, you should be able to at this point.
Perfect. Thank you, Mr. Haley. I appreciate it. So I want to talk to you guys a little bit about career services and getting prepared for your interviews, your resume. So this morning, first of all thing I want to ask you is, and you guys just get a show of hands would be great. Does everybody know who your career services advisor or your career services director is at your campus? Very good. If you don't, I highly recommend that you go introduce yourself and sit down and talk to them, start a conversation, have them work with you. We have career services advising forms, which explains to us what it is that you're most nervous about in a job interview, what it is that we need to do to help better prepare you. So definitely reach out to your career services advisor or your career services office so that they can assist you with that. So the most important thing of interviewing, what do you guys think that is? Is it preparation?
Feel free to unmute your mic and join in on the conversation. This is going to be what helps you the most.
What was the question?
So what do you think? If I were to tell you I need you to prepare for your interview, what would you do to prepare for your interview? Just a couple examples.
I would get like my paperwork.
What type of paperwork?
My social security. I know I would need my ID, and I think probably like
resume.
Yeah.
You definitely want to have your resume, and I recommend that you take 3 resumes with you when you go to the job interview. And the reason for that is you may be interviewing with one individual then I'm going to start out, probably you'll interview with a recruiter or HR. And from there, they will probably put you in touch with perhaps a hiring manager. So you want to be able to pass your resume for each individual that you're going to be meeting with on that particular day. But the main thing on preparation too is I want you to Google the company, find out what the reviews are, because you want to ensure that it's a good fit for you as well. Because when you're interviewing for a company, not only are they interviewing you, but you're interviewing them, because you need to make sure that the environment's correct for you, the culture is good for you, the benefits are good for you. What's the reviews on the company? Is there negative? Now, I do want to say sometimes when you have negative response from companies is a lot of time it's the individual that's created that negativity. So don't take those too seriously. People get upset, they get mad, they leave, they quit, and then they come back and talk negative about their employer. And you never, ever in an interview want to talk negative about your previous employers. You could always just say something very simple that it was a mutual understanding, or it just wasn't a good fit for me. I didn't particularly care for the environment. But never, ever, ever dog your employer, because it will come back. It's a very small world out there, and a lot of people talk, and you'd be very surprised, even though you think it's big, it's not. Everybody talks. And with LinkedIn, and there's so many organizations out there, people do share information. So just keep that in mind, okay? But you want to make sure that you know the location of the address, the location, where are you going for your interview. I highly recommend that if your interview is tomorrow, Afternoon at 2, I suggest you go either tonight or tomorrow and find the address so that you don't arrive late. What time should you show up for an interview? Let's say your interview's at 1 o'clock. Should you be there a half hour early, 15 minutes early?
At least 15 minutes.
At least 15 minutes, absolutely. And you want to be prepared to go in. So when you take your phone with you, put it on silence or leave it in the car.
Yeah.
Okay, because the last thing you want is your phone to be ringing during an interview because it's very disruptive. And the other things that you want to do to prepare is, like I said, dress code. Make sure that you understand what the dress code is. With HVAC, welding, typically, especially welding, I say jeans, your work boots, maybe a polo shirt, because ultimately they're probably going to give you a weld test. If you're going for HVAC, I recommend that you wear maybe a nice pair of Dockers, a nice shirt with your Dockers, go in being looking professional. And the reason why I say that for HVAC is because you are going to be interacting with clients. So they're going to look to see, excuse me, how you present yourself from a professional standpoint. Once you, and let's do vet and medical assisting. I don't think we have medical assisting in this, but let's do veterinary assisting. The other thing with that one is if you don't have something nice to wear, because not everybody does, and that's okay, wear your scrubs. It's okay because they may have you do, certain things like show me how you do animal restraint. So it's okay. Just make sure that they're clean. They're not wrinkled. They look like they've been wadded up in your trunk for a week. Just make sure they come out nice and clean and they're presentable. Okay. Very, very important.
Hey,
So,
Nancy, on
yes,
the jeans, can we clarify the jeans? Because I think some people don't understand when jeans are worn in that situation, uh, exactly how those jeans should be worn and the
they should
condition of those
fit.
jeans.
Yes, they should definitely fit. There should not be holes in them. They shouldn't be hanging off your butt. Pull them up, get a belt. If they don't fit, it's not cool. It's not cool anymore. Make sure that they are fit. They're clean. That's number one. No grease stains on them and so forth. So recommend if you don't have them, then go buy a pair. You can get them over at Walmart has jeans. I've sent students over there to get jeans before. Old Navy has excellent prices on jeans. Keep in mind, just put them up. Those can be your interview jeans if they're not that cool, okay? But you want to make sure that they are clean. There's no holes, that they fit properly. They're big, put a belt on, okay? Does that reach your question, Mr. Haley? Are we good there? Yeah, yeah.
Exactly. Uh,
It's important.
and I was in the vet industry, and one of the things with the scrubs, because a lot of places, we always required it, most vet places do, the working interview. So if you go in something other than scrubs, take scrubs with you if you have them, and let them know you do have them if they want to move into a working interview, so that they know that you do have them. A lot of places will give them to you if to use if they want to go forward. But be prepared, and if you go in nice clothes and they do want to do a weld test and things like that, have jeans available with you in your vehicle and say, I'm prepared to do a weld test. Always be prepared for any of those where they might do a test so that you've got it covered.
Absolutely. For the welders, guys, make sure definitely that you have your equipment with you because 9 out of 10 chances they're going to pop a weld test on you real quick. They may schedule it for the next day or a particular day that they do those weld tests, but always make sure that you have the proper equipment, your PPE, everything's ready to go. HVAC, make sure you have your gauges. I don't know how many students have come back and said, oh, I can't find my gauges. Well, a lot of the HVAC companies expect for you to have those gauges and ready to go out and work when they hire you. A lot of them do not provide them for you. So just keep those things in mind. Very important. And then when you go into the actual interview, probably the most famous question of all is when they say, tell me a little bit about yourself. Anybody want to tell me about yourself? Let's pretend I'm the interviewer. So I'm going to say to you, so hi, good afternoon. Please tell me a little bit about yourself. Anybody?
My name is Joseph, and I'm 19, and I currently work at Chick-fil-A as a team lead. Um, I'm working to start working as an electrician. I studied at Southern Technical Tampa College, um, and my skills are I'm good at listening, I am determined, I'm hardworking, and I'm a a leader, and I'm good with teams.
Very good. Now, the only thing that we would change in there, does anybody know what I would change in that when I asked him? There's only one thing
No
that
age.
stood out in my mind. What, Bruce?
No age.
No age. You don't want to date yourself. You don't want to share anything that's personal when you ask you about yourself. So I'm currently a student at Southern Technical College in the electrical program. I'm seeking an opportunity to utilize my educational skills. Short, simple, and sweet. Then you can go into the type of, just like you were saying, that you're a team player, that you consider yourself a leader, you enjoy working, you know, those type of things. Then you can lead in, segue into that. But don't ever share that you're married, that you have children, that you're divorced, you're going through mama drama right now. You don't want any of that, including your age. So just make sure that you keep that in your mind because they don't need to know your personal life. They want to know you as a professional and what you have to offer them. Any questions on that? Good? Perfect.
Yeah,
Yeah, so just like I said, keep it short and simple. You don't want to kind of over speak to it, but you want to make sure that they understand that you are seeking an opportunity to utilize your skills in your education. So another thing I want to talk about, I don't know if you guys have been over this, but does anyone know what soft skills are? What would we consider soft skills?
soft skills is like skills you can use at multiple different jobs. They like
This would be more of a transferable skill, but you're on the right track. Definitely, Joseph. Your soft skills lead more towards your personality, the customer service side of it, how you conduct yourself in a business environment. A lot of times, and I'll share this with you, we are required as a college, we have to provide um, program advisory board meetings twice a year for our employers come in and they provide us with feedback on how our graduates are doing in the field. They also let us know in our curriculum if there's anything that we need to add or adjust so that we continue to grow, obviously, and produce the best students that are going to be successful. And the number one thing that I've gotten every year since my last 5 years being here is soft skills. Always comes up. And the reason that is because it's having professional mannerisms about yourself. It's that customer service. And it doesn't matter what field you're in, it's every single field. You should be presenting yourself in a professional manner. Always. You never know who's looking. You never know who's listening. So just make sure that that's something that you take to heart because I'm telling you, every single meeting, every single program, the number one thing that comes back is we need to continue to work on our soft skills with our students so that when they hit the ground running as a graduate and they're working in their field, that they understand the importance of that customer service side. Your technical skills is obviously the skills that you're learning within your program that you're learning right now. So the technical skills is extremely important, but I am going to tell you how you present yourself and handle yourself from a soft skills standpoint will probably land the job or not land the job. It's that simple because they do look at your technical skills, but they also are looking at you again, like I said in the beginning, your personal skills. How do you handle yourself? How do you conduct yourself in different situations? So just keep that in mind.
And I'd like to piggyback on that. Uh,
Okay.
keep keep in mind that what we're hearing back in that, that is also in your the your entire communication. So when they're talking about that communication, and the way you present yourself, that is the way you're standing, you're posturing in front of the client or in the workplace in general. It's not just client facing, okay? It's the way you speak towards coworkers. It's the way you write things. We are not texting to each other. So when you're communicating, remember when you write things, it's not a text to a friend. Okay, so that's why when you're answering your daily questions that I'm insisting on uppercase, lowercase, punctuation, because and if you have to write out a ticket to a client, you're going to have to do these things. Okay, that's a reflection of the company you're working with. This is why this is so important. And she's very much true in that we do hear this, and it's across all careers, and it's not just at Southern Tech, because I talk to people from all areas, and this is a growing concern everywhere. So work on that and polish that, and that's going to give you the leg up. So I'm glad you're hearing the same things I'm hearing. Your technical skills, spot on. Polish that other side, those soft skills, boom, you've got that. And it's going to show as soon as you step into that interview.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. The other thing is examples of what to ask an employer. So you should always end your interview when they say to you, do you have any questions for me? You should always have at least one question. What question would you ask if an employer said, I'm your interviewer and I'm saying, so thank you, Mr. Haley. I'm glad you came in today. Do you have any more questions for me? What would you ask? What are some of the type of questions that you would ask that employer?
Who does this position report directly to?
Okay.
The history of the company.
Okay. Anybody else want to give it a shot? So Victoria, I want to go back to the history of the company. If you had prepared for the interview, you would know some of the history of the company by Googling and see when they started and so forth. Bruce, you're definitely right on that, who you report to. Hopefully you know that before the interview is over, the type of individual you'd be reporting to, if it's a production manager or a practice manager, whatever the situation is. But some of the things that you want to ask them is, where are you at in the hiring process? How soon should I expect to hear back from you? Another question that you might want to ask is this a position that because you're growing, are we replacing someone, or is it due to growth? There's a lot of different ways you can present that one. The other thing is, I don't recommend talking pay rate. And I know a lot of people say, well, what's the pay? Typically, they have a budget, and this is always very, very hard for people to understand. When you go for an interview, already that hiring manager or that recruiter, they already know what their budget is. They have a low budget for someone, maybe a beginner. They have an intermediate one, which is kind of a middle one. And then they have a higher end with someone that has several years of experience. They know where their budget is. They can't deviate from that budget because it's set by corporate or whoever their CFO is or whatever the situation may be. But sometimes that question does come up. What type of pay are you expecting? It's a tough one, guys. I'm not going to lie to you, because you don't want to outprice yourself and you don't want to go in and lowball yourself so that you're going to go in lower than what they were originally budgeted for, because then they're going to say like, oh, this score, we're going to take this guy because he's going to do it for $12 and we're saving $2 an hour because we're only going to offer him 14. So what I would say is, just my opinion, in my last job, I was earning $12 an hour. Well, I would like to see an increase from that, and pay is important. I'm also looking for an opportunity in itself. A good company culture, a company where I can grow, a company where I can advance. However, I am looking for a realistic range. Kind of leave it at that. I personally, and everybody has taught me this, I've been doing this for 30 years. I'm old. So here's the deal on that. I wouldn't even tell him I made $12 an hour, to be honest with you. I would just say, well, I'm seeking for an opportunity in itself. I'm looking for a good company where I can grow with the culture and I have the opportunity to advance. That is what's important to me at this time. Leave it at that. Don't give a price because I'm telling you, when you minute that you say I was $12, all they're thinking is, oh, we can give them 12.50 or 13. They're going to jump over to us. I'm telling you, don't say anything about your pay raise. Now, I typically, most of the time when you're interviewing, when you have that first initial, you've applied for the position, if you're on Indeed, Monster, whatever the case may be, they usually will tell you a pay rate most of the time. If not, they will bring it up. I assure you in the interview, they're going to say to you, this position is paying somewhere between 15 and 18 an hour. Perfect. That works for me. Thank you. Leave it at that. And then what will happen is then if you are accepted and they want to offer you the position, at that point in time, they will tell you what your pay rate's going to be. They will typically tell you they pay weekly or biweekly, whatever the case may be. Most companies will do it in a formal offer letter so they have record that you've accepted that position. If it's a lower pay than what you've expected, now you got to figure out how to negotiate that without being offensive and without throwing yourself out of the market there. Okay. So that's another tough one. And everybody struggles with it. But if you know that the job was posted for, let's just say $16 an hour, and they're coming back and they're offering you 15. Keep in mind, guys, you're new at this. You don't typically have experience in the field when you come out of school. So you got to kind of play with that a little bit. But it's okay to say to them, and I just did this with one of my students last week. I really appreciate the opportunity. However, at that rate, I don't think financially I would be able to secure this position because I really need at least whatever X amount of dollars. Now, you know, if they're paying 16 an hour, you don't want to go in and say, well, I need 20 or I can't work here. And they're going to say, thank you, have a good day, because I'm going to tell you there's 20 people in line right behind you that's fighting for that same job right now. So just keep those things in mind. If you ever have any questions, always talk to your instructors, talk to your career services advisors. We're going to help you work on how to negotiate that because it does get challenging. I've sometimes have called the employer myself and tried to negotiate from my standpoint. You know, I have a student here, a graduate that's instructor recommended 4.0 GPA, perfect attendance, has never missed a day, has always participated in class. I really think they're worth a shot. And I will go ahead and plead their case and try and get that dollar more if that's what it's going to be. And sometimes it works, and then sometimes they'll tell you, no, we just don't feel like they're qualified yet, but we'll review them in 30 or 90 days. Unfortunately, that's part of the world out there we live in. But you know what? Just take what you, I'm not going to say take every job you can get, but take what you can get. Keep the thing of it is this, guys, you're new into the industry. You can grow from there. You can grow, get the experience, get the knowledge, get the hands-on, work in the environment that you're going to school for based on your programs, and then take the opportunity from there to grow, and then you can make yourself very marketable. Okay?
Now,
And then, yes.
another option that I have done in hiring people, I have also brought people in and said, this is the rate that I can hire you at, and after 6 months, I will increase it to this amount. If you have someone who offers you this, please, please, please have it in writing. Whatever you do, have it in writing. Do not go on verbal alone, because I guarantee you, a year into it, you will still be at that lower rate. Okay? Companies are not your friend. It is a business contract. Always get anything like that where a rate will change after a certain amount of time in writing. Okay, everybody got that? Show of hands, you understand everything. Judge Judy them, okay? You know, everything in writing protect yourself at all times, but that could be another option only if you are financially able to do so. Never put yourself in a financial situation that you cannot handle. But I have done that in situations where I know the person wanted more money, but I knew they just didn't quite have the level I needed. So I needed to make sure that they were going to be able to step up. So we did a 3-month probationary period for one, and we did a 6-month for the other because of the amount of money they really wanted. And to do that, we stepped on from the part that a brand new person would start and then jumped them up even higher. So we made that compromise, but that's what they wanted. And so we were able to do that. So see what the situation is, know your limits. Okay, know your limit and check to see what your starting salary should be for your career.
Exactly. And the other thing with that too, Mr. Haley, is sometimes that person that's made that promise to you is no longer there. So there's turnover. And then when you go 3 months down the road and say, well, I was told, they're going to be like, I don't have it for you. I don't know anything about it. Definitely make sure that that's in your offer letter that you're going to get. A lot of your companies, and it just depends. Sometimes smaller mom and pop companies don't do offer letters. I would definitely ask for one, even if it's just in an email format, that we are offering you this opportunity to work as a welder. You will start out at $18 an hour. Your hours are from this time to this time. You'll be reporting to this person, and then go from there. But just make sure you have something in writing, like he said. Email, even email. Email holds up in court, guys. Just so you know, it's a formal acceptance, and then you can email back. And always keep emails. Always keep your text messages, because you always are going to, like he says, they're not your friend. They're there running a business, and they're there to be profitable. So just keep that in mind. At the end of the interview, what would you ask for? So we're finishing up. I'm thanking you for having me in today. I look forward to hearing back from you. What would you ask for at that point? What should you do next? Betty? So the next step you should take is, one, again, ask them for a time frame. When should you expect to hear back from them? You want to thank them for the opportunity, but most importantly, get a business card, get an email address, because the next step you're going to do after that, as soon as you get home, you're going to send them a thank you for the opportunity to interview you, and let them know how interested you are in the position and that you look forward to hearing from them. It's so important. People don't do it as much as they should these days because it's become very relaxed. But I'm telling you, it will go a long way, a long way. It'll blow their mind, to be honest with you. I've had more employers call me recently and just say, wow, I got a thank you letter. That's awesome. People don't do it anymore. It's just become very relaxed. So guys, do it. I'm telling you, it's going to take you one step higher. It's going to move you up the notch right there. Any other questions on that? If there's anything in the interview that you may have forgotten, you can include that into your thank you note. You know, I just want to reiterate my skill set that I have, kind of go over it again, but just make sure that you do that. It's really important. So at this point, everybody should be scheduled. Are we doing resumes this week, everybody? You got a resume with your career services team? Yes, show of hands, thumbs up. Come on, let's do this. There you go. All right, that's good. Now, my next question is, has everybody scheduled your mock interviews for next week? If not, you need to make sure you have those mock interviews scheduled, because career services gets really busy too. And the main thing of it is become prepared. It's actually a interview that we're going to sit down. We're going to ask you numerous questions about not only yourself, your skill set. We're going to ask you to provide us with a time that may have been a difficult situation, and how did you handle that? That's my cheat for the day, so keep that one in mind. They're going to talk to you. There's several questions on there, and the main thing of it is, guys, it's always going to start out with, tell me a little bit about yourself. So just be prepared.
They have worked on elevator pitches, so they should be prepared. So if you did that assignment and you did it well and you've been memorizing those elevator pitches, you should be prepared. If you did it and then thought, I don't have to think about this anymore, that's on you. This is your career and your future. Don't take it lightly.
Exactly. The one thing that we always ask that I love to hear the answers is, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And it's a positive, but yet it's still a negative. A lot of times I'll hear in HVAC as well as welding electrical says it too, is, oh, I'm going to own my own company. That's a positive, but it also becomes a negative, and I'll tell you why. Because the employer's like, oh, so I'm going to train these guys. I'm going to get them out there. They're going to interact with my customers. They're going to go over to business. They're going to pull my customers away from me because people really like them better than they do me. And then all of a sudden, we got a problem. So don't say that. Just say, I always tell them, I just see myself growing with the company. I'm so excited. I want to grow. I want to learn. I'd like to work my way up the ladder. Leave it at that. In 5 years, if you have your own company, good for you. I'm proud of you. But just make sure that your employer doesn't know that that's the direction that you're headed in, because it will make them a little leery about how it is that you're going to do business with them. Okay, so keep that in mind. Other than that, I don't have anything else for you. Do you guys have any questions for me? Okay, Mr. Haley, I think they're ready to go for this mock interview, their resumes, and get that job, right? Start their career.
And dress for this interview, this mock interview. You need to be ready for this mock interview the same as you would prepare for a real interview. Have that resume ready. Any references that you need, have them ready. Dress for it, be prepared. Know that elevator pitch. Be prepared to ask your interviewer questions. When you go to leave, thank them by name. Make sure you ask, what will be the next step? Or when will I hear from you next? You will be doing thank you letters. We go over thank you letters at the end. Be prepared to send those back. You should feel comfortable with what you write to send back to the person who interviews you. I always recommend, when you send that thank you, attach that resume, because when they hear back from you, you don't want them to have to work. You don't want them to have to go searching for it. How many people have ever heard the phrase, you best get my name out of your mouth? Anybody ever hear that? It's put in, get my name out of your mouth. Yeah, we know that one. Okay, this is the opposite. You best get my name in your mouth. Yeah, don't make me go like that. You want your name in their face all the time. Like she said, people don't do this. They've lost etiquette. Why? I got better things to do. I got TikTok videos to watch. Okay, here's the thing. Do you want Lamborghini or do you want a TikTok video? Okay, you have high hopes, you have dreams, but you don't want to work for it. That's the problem that we do. I'm lazy, okay? I want a pizza, but I don't want to walk over to the kitchen. So I wait for somebody to get in the kitchen, then I tell them to bring it to me. I do these things. I'm lazy. Okay, I'll admit that. So you want the job, go that extra step. If that's what you want, send that thank you, attach that resume. Then when they see it, they're shocked they got a thank you. And it's like, wait a minute, let me look down this person's resume. It's everything that I wanted. I remember them. I don't have to look at these other 30 people that didn't even bother.
Right. Exactly.
You are the one. And that's the difference. It's not what they're doing, it's what they're not doing. So
And I want to add to
that.
that, and I'd like to add one thing, and everybody on my campus here in Sanford knows Nancy, is if I help you get an interview, and I schedule you for an interview, and I'm working with this employer on your behalf, and you don't call and you don't show, I'm done. I'm one and done. And I preach that often because it has happened to me numerous times. And I've had people say, well, your job is to get me a job. No, that is not our job in career services. Our job in career service is to assist you, to prepare you to go out and get that job. So just keep that in mind. If you have, now I know things come up and we all know life comes at you fast, things happen. That's okay. But make sure that you contact that employer and let them know that you've had an emergency and that something's come up, but please, you would like to reschedule if there's any way possible. Same thing with your mock interviews. If I got you scheduled for a mock interview at 11 o'clock and you show up at 1 o'clock, first of all, I'm going to ask you what time, where's your watch? What time is it? Because obviously we're not on the same page. And second of all, if you don't come in and you don't show, I send out an email to the instructors, let them know they didn't come in, they didn't show, so I'm not doing the interview. Because here's my thing, guys, you got to learn it from the start. If you don't show up and you don't call, then you're probably not going to succeed. Number one, employers want people that are going to be reliable and dependable. Everything else they can work with you on. So that's kind of my lecture for the day. I lecture it every day, all day long here in Sanford. But it's important to me because sometimes I feel like, and I'm sure you do too, Mr. Haley, sometimes I feel like that we want it more than you do. And that's a problem. You have to want it. You have to want to be successful. And if you don't want it, move out of the way. Let's let the next person in line who does want it, let them have that opportunity. Because guys, the opportunities out there, we have extremely high placement rates. And we do it for you because there is nothing better than see you get your beginning, your start. That's kind of like my woohoo moment right there. And you will hear us screaming probably all the way to Orlando when someone comes in and says, Miss Nancy or Miss Vicki, we got the job. That's the best thing. That's the best thing that we can ever hear, honestly, because it's about your success always.
And here's the thing with the mock interviews. If you schedule and you don't show, because you get points for scheduling, you don't show, I'm going back and taking those points out. You don't just get points for scheduling and don't show. Those points come out, you lose those. You don't get any points for not going to the mock, you lose those. And there's 2 other assignments associated with this as well. So overall, you're going to have 4 assignments with this as well. This is important. This is key. Everybody understands this. Okay. This is an important part of this. This interviews will go on. Even once you're in your career, if you go to move up, you're going to possibly have to interview. How many people want their own businesses out there right now? Show of hands. Who wants their own business? Okay. You're going to be on the other side. You're going to have to conduct interviews. Mm-hmm. How can you conduct an interview if you can't successfully do an interview from this side of it? Okay. Think about that. If you cannot handle an interview yourself, how are you going to interview people and get successful employees for your business?
Exactly.
So you have to know both sides. So always think about that. Everything you learn as an employee will come back and help you as an employer. Okay. Now, this is not meant to be a punishment, but the reason why you can't have those other assignments is because they piggyback off this experience. Okay. And the reason why I take those points off is because you didn't follow through on the other part of this assignment. Okay. So please do this. This is important. You will learn so much from this experience. All right. And yes, I want you to succeed so much because yes, I came out of the project and I'll tell you, when I grew up in the project, I didn't know they were bad. It took me coming out of the projects and somebody telling me, oh, the projects were bad. And I was like, really? I didn't know that because when I was in it, I didn't realize it. So yes, I came out of those. I did well, this and that. I want everybody to do well. Okay. So everybody who wants to do good, raise your hand. You're going to do good. You're going to put forward because you walk through Southern Tech's doors wanting to do good and you will, right? We got this. All right.
Exactly.
Thank
Very
you.
good. Thank you so much. And Ron, you and I must have been neighbors because I was actually raised in the projects too. You're on mute.
Oops, Cabrini
No.
Green. up in
But
Chicago. One of the
Chicago.
worst, and I didn't know it.
Well, that's what I say that all the time because I had went back to where I was raised at, and I called my mother, and I was like on the street I was raised in or on, and I said, "Oh my God, Mom!" I said I was born in poverty and didn't know it, and she didn't say anything. I'm like, "What? That might have been a bad thing to say." She comes back and she said to me, "Then I guess I did a good job." And I'm telling you what, she did because every one of us have been very successful in our careers. So just go for it, guys. Make it happen.
Yes,
All right. Thank you
all
so
of us
much. I
can do
appreciate
that.
it.
Absolutely. All
Thank you,
right,
guys.
everybody.
Good luck.
Thank you so much. A round of applause for Nancy, everybody. And so now we're going to do a quick everything that we need to wrap up here so we can finish this week out here. So that was excellent. Y'all are going to do so incredible. You really are. So I hope you realize that. I'm going to share my screen here. So we are going to be closing out week 2 here. Okay, so we are all the way down. Please make sure you get your interviews have been incredible, by the way. I have just been so excited about what I'm seeing, what you're getting from people. It's amazing the experiences that you are gaining from people in the field. That has been absolutely incredible. The other thing, your signed resumes are coming in. Uh, so get those done. Your midterm, when you click on that, uh, what's going to happen is you will come through here. Um, I've already been in here once. So what's going to happen is you have your questions. Each one's worth 4 points, and you will just click on them as you go through. Short answers. Remember, I have to manually grade all short answers. A couple of people have already done them. Your lowest grade will be when you first finish. I have to add in the bonus points if you did the bonus question. Short answers, I have to add those. There are some of these multiple choice. I don't like the way it's graded some of them as incorrect. I will be updating those for anybody that gets those questions. So everybody understand that you will see those grades go up from your initial time taking them. So please don't freak out when you see that, because it's always scary. Like you'll see, oh, I've got a 50 something when you first take it. Some have been as low as like 30 because you happen to get more fill in the blanks, etc. Okay, these are random. As far as the questions, you can work on them with each other. You can help each other out. Don't forget, under this big red button here, you have a midterm study guide. You can click on that. You can pull it up on your phone while you work on a computer. You can look at it here. You can also download it. So everything is in here. I guarantee you everything on that test is in there. So that will close out all your assignments. Monday, all your midterm grades go to your respective campuses. If your grade falls below a certain level that your campus decides, typically it's in the 60s range. Some of them, if it drops below 70, some it's below 65, then they'll require, if not already, that you attend all your classes, the rest of the classes on campus. But you will also have to be counseled by your campus to find out what's going on, why your grade is below a certain level. So please make sure you catch things up. Okay, week 1, if you have any assignments open after Sunday, you will not be able to access them the rest of the course. That's it. They close on any extensions if anybody has any. Week 2's assignments, they lock on Sunday at 11:59. And like I said, your midterm, when it locks, there are no extensions on midterms. Okay, so please do not miss the midterm. I cannot extend that. All right, everybody got that on due dates and everything? We're all good there. Okay, so let me get this going here. Did not go to the right screen. Try this again. There we go. Okay, so how many people feel like you've made progress already? Show of hands. Anybody feel like you've been making some progress? Like learned a few things? If you haven't, I'm going to show you what you've done so far. So we started off with the career plan and you started setting some long-term goals. And this is where you want to go, what you want to achieve, and some things to gain. You started off doing this, and then we started doing some informational interviews. This is the one in your field. This is the one you should be finished with and finishing out. And you're getting experiences. You're finding out good and bad, things you may not have realized. And look at this. How many people realize this was a way to get you to network? Did anybody realize that? Kind of forced you to network. Yeah, you're networking with people in your field. If you actually did this, you are networking. So it's a way to get you to network. Okay. And we talked about resume keywords. How many people remember this? These are required to be seen because automatic data systems will not select you. Okay. And you need to use these that are in the job post. Okay. So we searched them, we found current career terminology. You have to be relevant. You have to know what's going on out there. Now, a couple people who have done their interviews with people, how many people who have talked to those in the field said, you need to know what's going on. You need to know what's current. You need to keep up. You need to go. I told you, I'm not lying. I'm as honest as I am ugly. Right there. We want you to do these things because honestly, I have to do them. I have to stay current. I have to know what's going on because every career requires them. This is not unique. This is everybody. You use them on your resume, business cards. How many people, honestly, don't do this just to make me happy, have done any business cards? Has anyone done a business card out there? Okay. One person. Think about that. So if you all went in and applied for the same job, who's going to get it? There you go. Don't expect results without the work. Boom. Put the work in, people. Okay? Because this is one example. How many other people are applying and putting in the work? It's not necessarily what you're doing. It could be what you're not doing. Okay, so when you're networking, try to reach out to people because a lot of these jobs are not listed. Your personal brand, okay? How many people are working on their brand, their reputation? Your reputation includes your aptitude, skills, abilities, personalities, and values, and people are going to know you. How many people are ensuring all their work is complete and at 100%? If I went through there and I said, I want you to see so-and-so's assignments and how much they've got completed and how much they have open right now, I wouldn't do that. But that would be your reputation. Protect your reputation at all times, good or bad, that's up to you. So your reputation is everything, and people are going to know you by that name. You are your name, protect it, okay, at all costs. Because if your reputation goes bad, it's hard to get it back. How many people have seen a good brand go bad? Their reputation got damaged. How many people know Ford Motor Company Everybody knows Ford, right? How many people remember when the Ford car, the Pinto, blew up? When people would rear end that car, it blew up. Boom. Nobody wanted them. Okay. Now here's an interesting thing. How many people know that the 65 Mustangs explode easier and more often than the Pinto? Did anybody know that? How many people didn't know that? Yeah, but they protected that brand because everybody likes the Mustang. How many people, if I offered them a 65 Mustang right now, would take that in a heartbeat? Yeah, we love that car because they protected that brand. It's a bigger death trap, but we won it. You did a brand statement. You did one sentence to describe you. Now go back and polish that. Make that shine because you put this on your cover letter, your resume, social media accounts, your portfolio. It's your slogan. Let people know who you are. We just did this, your interview. Prepare that mock interview. How many people got good advice today? You could be honest if you don't think so, but how many people think they picked something up that they can use today? Good. There's always going to be people who don't think they got anything. That's okay too. Dress appropriate, that hygiene, that smile. Okay, we're going to talk about hygiene. Okay, smells. Okay, how many people don't like bad smells? People walk by you and you're like, ugh. You know, we see it at theme parks all the time. And okay, a good smell can be too much also. Okay, if they can smell you more than a few feet away, wipe some of that stuff off, guys. Okay, you know, Axe is not a substitute for taking a shower. Okay, I've seen it at the gym a lot. You go, you work out, you come into the locker room, you wipe off with a towel, and you spray yourself down with Axe. You know, I don't know how your girlfriends, wives, whatever, put up with that. That is not a substitute for a shower. Shower, okay? Don't cover yourself with perfume. You don't want to be smelled good or bad from a mile away. Smile, do a handshake, be on time, know where to park, go, okay? Feet flat on floor, hands on lap, armrest, hand the resume, answer with confidence. Okay, how many people are beginning to feel confident they know what they know? Feeling more confident? Look at your resume, look at those skills. That's to remind you, this is what you've accomplished, okay? This is you. You have done these things. Ask those closing questions and afterwards, debrief. That doesn't mean take your underwear off. That's not what debrief means. Okay, debrief means think about what went well, what you can improve on. Okay, now your online presence. You've got one if you want it or not. It's either good, bad, or missing. And missing is worse than bad. Okay, so figure out how to fix it. If you're online, lock those accounts down so you control who sees what. Okay, think about LinkedIn. We're going to create an account as part of this class. And how you control that account is up to you. Lock down these other ones. Okay, now how many people are actively looking to network? Okay, some people are. Honestly, you should be networking whenever possible. And some of the places where you can go, virtual events, look for places on, volunteer. If you're in the vet field, you need to volunteer, okay? No place I know would I ever hire somebody if they haven't volunteered somewhere. You don't have to volunteer a lot of hours, don't get me wrong. Volunteer 4 hours a month somewhere just to get some experience of a little bit, okay? Your peers, your campus faculty, when you talk to them, you are actually networking, okay? Your networking with campus faculty will change as soon as you graduate. We can talk to you as a professional, not a student. How many people realize that? We get to talk to you on a different level. It's a great thing. Once you graduate, we get to talk to you on a different level. We can interact with you outside of the campus in a different level as a professional level. It's a wonderful thing. Go to conferences and seminars. A lot of these are free. Look for them, okay? Local meetups. They meet up in parks and clubs and things like that. They're fun. You get to see what people are like casual in your field. And look, business cards, physical or digital, there's free apps. You can get it on your phone. Okay? And now, how many are ready for this week's assignment or today's assignment? This one's a doozy. And I want you to think this one really good through because it involves money. We all like money? Yeah. So I want you to think this through. If this were real and how you would handle this, because this could really be the situation. Okay, you can't add any parameters beyond this. You can't go outside the scope. Okay, so here's the deal. I'm going to give you an offer. I'm going to hire you and your best friend at $30 an hour. Everybody got that? $30 an hour. You'll make 30 an hour, your friend's going to make 30. Everybody understands that, right? We're good so far? Or I will hire only you for $50 an hour and your best friend doesn't get a job. Okay? You're going to make this decision. Your best friend will not know about the offer, just who is hired or not. So if you choose the $50, they won't know that there was ever this choice. If you choose the $30 for each of you, they'll just know they got a $30 an hour job. Okay? You decide the fate here. Which one are you going to take and why? If you choose the 30 for each, that could be great. But what if they quit the next day? Then you're forever at 30. You choose the $58 an hour, but your friend might not ever get a job. You have to decide. This is an issue that is facing you. Which would be better? Are you going to go home and tell your family, I turned down $20 more an hour? Everybody understand this. You cannot tell your friend about the offer or you get $0 an hour. You decide. This is your dilemma. Which one are you going to choose? This is a stress test. Makes you a little uncomfortable. You and your best friend, if you don't have a best friend, try to get one. Otherwise, it's a family member. If it's not a family member, it's your pet. If it's not your pet, then think about anybody that you could possibly wish the best with. All right? That you have to come up with. All right, everybody understands that? Any questions before we head out of this week? Everybody's good? All right. So I hope you had a great day. I hope you have a better weekend, and we will see you Monday. And we will start week 3, and it will be a short turn next week, and we will be in our final week. Y'all have a great weekend, and we will see you Monday at 10 a.m.